We are in Waynesboro, and I just emptied out my entire pack, took all the pockets off, and we are going to go dump this sucker in the tub, and I'm probably going to be really alarmed at what comes off of it. Jay is doing his currently. Is it bad? Oh my... Oh, I have no words. Alright. It's way too foggy in here, but that is disgusting. Stay tuned. I've concluded that I definitely have a case of the Virginia blues, which I'm not surprised by because I tend to get into my funks when there's like a long stretch of something without a change, I guess, like a change of scenery or I don't know. That's how I get in the winter, actually. I call Virginia the January, February, and March of a teacher's year. You're just slugging away. But I mean, everybody's different. Some people it doesn't really get to them. But Belch is so excited for cheeseburgers and milkshakes in the Shenandoahs. Mm-hmm. How excited are you?
Pretty excited.
So Jay just spotted a bear on trails. We're just trying to be careful so we don't spook him or her. Okay, so today we started our day and this cool guy comes up hiking behind us and we get to talking and it turns out he's a Navy SEAL and his name is Chad, and I'm just going to introduce him because hiking with him has been one of my favorite parts of the entire trail so far and I'm so excited. So to our viewers, this is Chad. And how many years did you do?
Hey guys, I did 12 years in the SEAL team's active duty. I got out in January, so however many months between January and now.
Wow.
So.
And you're looking to through hike next year, right?
I am. So yeah, I'm out here. So it's been a pleasure.
It has been such an honor to, I don't even know how far we've gone, but it's been, I don't know, I have total like goosebumps this whole time. Yeah. Talking to Chad and just hearing his stories about his time in the SEALs and what he's been through, and just he runs ultra marathons and just a lot of stuff that has helped him, and it's just been so inspiring. And I'm like still, I don't know, it's gonna probably take me a full 24 hours to comprehend what happened out here today.
Yeah, I had multiple chill bump myself. So.
And he also has a podcast. Or a podcast interview on a really cool show called Team Never Quit with Marcus Luttrell, so you guys should definitely check that out too. And that came out pretty recently,
yeah,
right?
That came out recently, and also on Trail Runner Nation, we talk about the power of the spoken word. We talk about don't give a voice to your pain. and we don't die in our chairs, right? We die in the field, just like you guys are doing right now. You guys are out in the field, you refuse to quit, so utmost respect, guys.
I have like no words. So anyway, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us on camera. And I'm always like nervous about asking people to be on camera because I don't know how they're gonna feel about it. So
hey, to God be the glory. Let's continue to share this because everyone needs what we have, right?
yeah.
We're blessed to have what we have. It was given to us, so let's share it.
Thank you. All right. So this is what just happened. As soon as we stopped talking to Chad and he left, we roll up on mile 900, and I was like so lost in our conversation with him that I totally forgot about this. So our conversation with Chad really just brought an entirely new meaning to our hike, and I'm really not screwing around when I say that. Like, we got up this morning around, I don't know, 7:30 or 8. We've been really trying to get some more sleep out here because it just really helps us through the day. And we're getting ready, we're doing our thing. I think we had just started hiking, and I hear this voice behind me. It's like, hey, how y'all doing? And mind if I talk with you a little bit? Like, just so enthralled with the whole through hiking thing. Like, sure, no problem. I mean, I love talking to new people out here. I love hearing where people are from and what they have to say and their stories. And little did I know who I was talking to at first, until we were talking about what we did back home, and he goes, yeah, I was in the Navy SEALs, so we're talking about when he enlisted and all this different stuff. And hadn't exchanged names or anything, and then he started mentioning this podcast, and as soon as he said a podcast having to do with the, him being in the SEALs, I was like, he's gonna say Team Never Quit. I know. If you're not familiar with them, one of the podcast leaders, or I don't know if it's the producer, his name is Marcus Luttrell, and I'd say he's a pretty well-known SEAL. And so I stopped dead in my tracks, and I was like, no way, dude, are you serious? I was like, what's your name? And he said Chad Wright. And then I just got total goosebumps because I follow Team Never Quit on Instagram, and they just posted something about his interview going live, and I looked at him and I was like, are you kidding me? I didn't even know what to say. And the crazy thing, and I haven't told anybody this except for Jay, is the morning that everything happened at Reed Creek, I decided that I felt like listening to a podcast that morning, and so I downloaded the one where Marcus Luttrell interviewed a guy named Frank DeAngelis, who was principal at Columbine High School during the shooting. And as a teacher, I'm always thinking about that stuff, what I would do in that situation. And so listening to this interview with Frank DeAngelis and just his story about how he refused to give up after the shooting, and he promised all those kids that he would return and stay principal for as long as all those kids were in the district for. And this was right around this past April 20th was the 20-year anniversary of the Columbine massacre. So I'm listening to this podcast, and I go about my day, and then everything unfolds that evening. And the next day, and in the days following, I said to myself, and I said to Jay, that I really feel like there was a reason that I listened to that podcast that morning, because it was just it really struck a nerve with me that if somebody can go back into their school after witnessing that, going through that, and continue to be principal, not just for that year, but for another 15 years or 16 years, I told myself that we can get back on trail, and that there was a reason we were out here and we lived, and that I wasn't just gonna lay down and let that be it. Like, I've been forced off trail before, and I sure as hell was not going home again. And so when Chad told me that he was on Team Never Quit, I told him that. I was like, I listened to Frank D'Angelo's interview with them the morning before everything happened. And it's like one of the key reasons I'm still out here. So I am just still kind of in some shock and awe at how all of that played out. But most of all, I'm just really thankful to God for putting him in our path today. Because the last 2 weeks or so have not been easy out here, and I needed that. I needed that kick in the ass. So that's my spiel for today. The Shenandoahs have been good to us. We saw a bear yesterday. Oh, and about a mile in, saw a bear yesterday. Saw 2 copperheads in the afternoon. Saw a copperhead snake this morning. And about a mile in to BSing with Chad before I knew much about him, the two of us almost stepped on a timber rattler in the middle of the trail because I was so engrossed in what he was talking about with his time in the seals that I didn't even see the thing, and I almost stepped on him. That would have been an unpleasant day, afternoon in the hospital. So there's that. So I'm telling you that the things that happen out here, there's just, I don't really believe in coincidence or things like that. I just believe that God is always working. Thoughts, comments about this morning?
No. That's it, just no. It's weird how things work out here.
Yeah.
Of all people.
Weird is an understatement.
Yeah.
In a good way. In a very good way.
Absolutely.
But just kind of dumbfounded.
Yeah.
So this morning, Jay walked right over a timber rattler snake, and then Chad and I were like, I don't know, 10 or 15 feet behind him. And I walked practically right on it, and I saw it move out of the corner of my eye, so I like stuck my trekking pole out to basically like block it from me, I guess. I don't know what the hell I was doing. And Chad saw it right away too. And then I yelled up to Jay and I was like, how'd you just walk past this thing? Like, how does that happen? Especially him. So now he's trying to convince me that he saw the snake first and he was just testing me to see if I would spot it.
Yeah, I saw it. I was just making sure she was on her toes, that's all. Mm-hmm. All right, onward.
Okay. So we ate our body weight in pizza, Virginia pizza. And when I sat down and I took a bite, I was like, oh, this is pretty good. Jay looks at me like, are you out of your mind? No offense to pizza in Virginia, but the second I get into New Jersey, I'm doing like a 6-day resupply of pizza and bagels, and I'm gonna love every bite of it. Every bite. This is how you know I've been south of the Mason-Dixon line for too long. Okay, so through hiker fantasy of the day is that this thunder behind me and these looming clouds are going to pass us. Okay? They're gonna pass us. We're not gonna get soaking wet. I'm not gonna smell like something died. And we're gonna get into camp dry.
We all know that's not gonna happen.
Absolutely not. So here's an update on how my through hiker fantasy went today. I stayed dry for, I don't know, 15, 16 miles. It would drizzle and then it stopped. And every time it stopped, I was like, hey, I'm actually gonna stay dry today. And then at mile 16.5 out of 17, the heavens and earth opened up on me while I was on a ridgeline, and I got drenched and soaked.
You done got wet.
To the very core of my being. And then we finished our day, and here we are. And I am a filthy, disgusting mess. So on that note, I'm going to bed.